10B DAU Q6K chat model using our custom web UI. Not only that, we're also going to be using Llama.cpp. Now, before we begin, quick reminder, I do a live stream every day at 2 p.m. Eastern. You're free to join the live chat and post anything about programming or lifestyle topics. And as you can see here, I have a direct link to this current live stream. If you don't want to do that, you can simply watch the video. The video is also embedded in the article. And also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments for more frequent content, and also for content that you request yourself. For example, a lot of this AI stuff, obviously I did some research myself, and some of the viewers and subscribers led me towards this path, meaning that they provide a lot of information, so I got really good at it, or much better I should say, because I'm still learning. However, I pretty much got it down. So if you like programming and you like tweaking, this tutorial is perfect for you. So we're gonna do a little bit of HTML, we're gonna do a little bit of JavaScript, we're gonna do some CSS. We're also gonna go, don't worry about the command line, it's very simple. In fact, this is probably the simplest local AI to get started, and I literally mean that. So as you know, except for last night, probably the 5 of the last 6 nights, I've been doing some night streams inspired by literally Llama.cpp. So if you don't know what Llama.cpp is that Meta or Facebook, they released their Llama models, and what happened is at the lowest level you have Llama.cpp. So what happens is a lot of developers, there's a lot of open source, including some proprietary, but the open source ones is what I'm dealing with, like Llama, the Llama clients. They make it even easier. They have their own APIs to connect with. But what I found was that a lot of the UIs didn't do what I wanted. So for example, the conversation would be cut off, or the output would not be what I want. For example, doing tests like this one today, when I request something, for example, like code, the code would either be clipped off or it would just be jumbled up. And the problem was, it wasn't the AI model itself. It was, I found out later, it was actually the UI. And on top of that is that I noticed that on my old workstation, which is an Intel i7 2600 from 2011, yes, you heard me right, and I only had 16 gigs of RAM, and I had a NVIDIA GTX 950 I bought in 2016, is I was able to run ridiculous amount of models. I mean, really large parameter models. I mean, sometimes it'll be slow, but the thing is I was able to run them. And then when I got my complete A&D system, double the RAM, 32 gigs of RAM. I also got a GPU, way more powerful than that NVIDIA, which was only 2 gigs of VRAM. This one has 32 gigs of HBM2 RAM. The problem I realized was those UIs I was using, or those applications, they would barely, sometimes never even touch the GPU. So that frustrated me, because I'm like, that's why I got this GPU. It was a crypto card from a server. So I'm saying, I want to use it for AI. That's the entire reason I got it. So why can't I use it? So I started doing some research, and I found that obviously most of the stuff is really meant for Intel CPUs and NVIDIA GPUs. So however, I can compile, which I don't mind doing, but luckily I'm using Fedora. They have a lot of open source stuff, so I haven't had to use any proprietary drivers yet, and I've got everything working. I installed Welcome and all that, everything's working. So, and then I noticed they had Llama.cpp, but I was using Fedora 42, they didn't have the Python version. In 43, which I recently upgraded to, they do have the Python version, so I installed that, and I'm able to use that in order to handle my the web UI. So the web UI is very similar to what we did last time. The difference is obviously instead of using Llama, we're using Llama.cpp instead. So with that, let's get into this post. Okay, so you guys, if you've been following along the night streams, you guys have seen like I've been tweaking it as well. So it looks very, very different. So I'm going to show you the difference between running this model by default, where it runs on the CPU. It's going to take a while, except for one question. The surprising thing is one question. It's really, really, really fast on the. In fact, it's even faster on the CPU than the GPU, and you'll be shocked. It actually gives a correct answer. So if what I noticed about this model is if you ask it a question it knows, basically a very simple question that's almost a yes/no type answer, it will be really fast, like blink of an eye fast. So that's great. So if I also during the night streams I also went over the how to pick a model. So you should watch one of those ones. I wrote an article a while back when I did the one. When I tried to get the one, was it 14B for video, and that was like almost a 4-hour live stream, but you can just read the article. So a subscriber helped me try to get it up and running. So although it didn't work, a lot of that information was very useful for the night streams, where I actually got video working very, very well, much faster as well. So we talked about the Gemma. So this is, it's meant for writing, like if you want to do, I guess, book writing or story writing, this model is for you. So as I said, I explained what the queue, obviously you want to get the highest number of queue you can for your system, depending on your obviously resources, RAM and VRAM as well. And then we talked about the license. I talked about the license restrictions, so just be aware of that. Meaning, basically, I can summarize it very, very quickly for you. If you want to do stuff that's not safe for work, usually those models will prohibit you from doing that. Otherwise, you're free to use it for commercial users and etc. So first of all, let's get started. I'm not going to repeat the same thing I've said again. You'll see, I'll show you what I did to get this up and running. So here are some screenshots, and we'll take a look at everything here. Now, this is how I installed it, and because my GPU, it was a server card, so it didn't come with any cooling system. So what I had to do is I purchased a 3D printed fan shroud with a 40mm fan, and what happens is that 40mm fan, it blows air right through the GPU. So when I'm running AI or when the GPU is being used, the temperature rises up very quickly. So I don't even use a fan profile. I just do it manually. It rises very, very quickly. The fan profile will not be able to keep up. And of course, I'm not, when you first plug, if you use BIOS by default will let it run at the highest speed, which is like 18,000 RPM. That's like a jet engine taking off right in front of it. It's too loud. So when it's not in use, I leave it around 2,500-ish RPMs, and then when I'm doing stuff with it, I ramp it up to 50% about 8,500 RPMs. You guys will see that in a second. In a second when here's my web UI. You see I've improved it. So for the last time, if you haven't watched the night streams, so I'll explain what we've improved, and you can see we're using Markdown, we're using a syntax highlight. I haven't gotten the syntax highlight to work the way I want it yet. That's probably an improvement that we'll keep on working on. And you can see all the outputs here, and this is the live stream here. So to prove it's a live stream, I'm going to play this embedded video, and you can see it's perfect. By the way, I'm live streaming on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, and Odyssey. So if you want to post a chat request there, I'll take a look at it. Unfortunately, I'm using Wayland, so I can't use browser docs on OBS yet. There was a bug. It's a Chromium bug, so it's not enabled yet. So I think it's actually been fixed. It was fixed very recently, like maybe a few weeks ago, but obviously OBS is a stable application, so they're not going to, they're going to probably wait a while. It probably won't even happen until next year. So I said what I'll be doing is sometime in the middle of this tutorial, I'll take a break and I'll check all the live chats, and then I can respond. So if I don't respond right away, it's not because I'm being a jerk. It's simply that I don't know. I have to go to several different browser tabs in order to manually check. Okay, actually, you know, let me actually do that now. I'm checking quickly YouTube, checking BitChute, Rumble, and Odyssey. Oh, Odyssey here. Let's check this one out. All right. I don't know why Odyssey. I always have to refresh the button. Yeah. Okay. There we go. No, none on Odyssey. Okay. Perfect. All right. So let's get started. So I'm gonna jump here to the command line, and I'll show you how this was installed. So what I did was very simply, you need to, if you remember, we're using Llama, so I did remove Llama. One of the things I also don't like about Llama is there's no way to close the server. It basically, you know, you have to basically kill it, which is really, it doesn't really make sense. There should be like Llama stop or something like that, right? They don't have that. So another change I did was, what I used to do before is I used to use the integrated graphics to do the live streaming, and I would use the dedicated GPU to record. So the problem with Llama is because Llama was using the dedicated GPU. When Llama crashed, it also took down the dedicated GPU. So the video got messed up as well and took down the system. So now I do complete separation. So the integrated graphic is going to do the streaming and recording the video as well. It doesn't take up too many resources, and that will leave the dedicated GPU just strictly for AI tasks. So this way I remove that problem where, if you remember in the past, when I was generating models in images in ComfyUI, the images were slightly, you could tell they were artifacts. That's because the GPU is using. So this time there's no excuse. Okay, so I have some more information here. I don't know why, but that's perfectly fine. So all I did was, I'll go to the command line here. Let me zoom in here. So you just type DNF search Llama.cpp. That's the actual name, but I believe that's not what Fedora has it as. They have it actually as Llama-cpp. So I might have to zoom out here a little bit. Yeah, here we go. See, there's there's three. There's Llama-cpp. I installed that one, and you see there's a Python. The Python one didn't exist in Fedora 42, so if you're in Fedora 42, you won't get the Python one. You need at least 43 or Rawhide. So that's one of the reasons I upgraded to Fedora 43, so I can install this one, Python 3 Llama. Python 3 Llama-cpp -c Python. I don't know why Python is there. It's a choice, but there we go. So obviously that means you need to have obviously Python 3 if you want to follow along. So you can also compile this yourself. I don't know why, if you're especially on Linux, I don't know why when it's in the distro, but there you go. You can compile it as well, and that's it. That's all you need. So you technically don't need this Python bindings. You can simply work right with the Llama itself. But if you use Python, one of the benefits is obviously you especially when you're making like your own endpoint, you can control things. You can, for example, one of the benefits is if you stop running the script, it automatically obviously stop running Llama-cpp as well. So those are some of the benefits of running Python. And I said you can do much more. Of course, you don't need to use Python at all. So you can just do it's a little bit slower if you just use command line stuff in Python or PHP or whatever language you want. But I decided to use Python. It also gives me a chance to do more Python tutorials for you guys as well. So let's get started. So that you install Llama.cpp, and I recommend to also install its Python bindings. So whatever distro or operating system, whether it's Mac OS, Linux, Windows, you make sure those are installed. Okay, with those installed, and then you see I created some files here. I'm going to show you both. I'll show you those files in a second. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start up my. If you remember, I have this application called Cooler Control. This allows me to manually control the cooling for the GPU. So I'm going to start that up. Unfortunately, you need to start up with the administrator permissions or super root, or sorry, no, super admin for you guys in Windows. So I'm going to start this up. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit because once you see the so this guy is ready. So I'm gonna tear off one of these tabs here, and I'll put it here, and I'll just go. It's localhost or something like that. So it's cooler control. There we go. Localhost colon 11987. So on my system, it's based on this sensor, the NCT6687. So this is the integrated graphics. I don't care about that one. All I care about is this one here. This is the dedicated one. You see at idle, it's running at 42. That's because it's here in Southern Ontario, we're going through a cold spell. In summer, sometimes it's up to about 47 or so, especially this summer. We're experiencing a drought. And you can see the temperatures for the CPU basically on idle. It's not quite idle because OBS is running and some obviously browser tabs are open as well. So it's around there. So I don't need this Wi-Fi card, so that one doesn't have a fan. So the one I'm interested in here is this fan, system fan 2. You see it's running at 2898 RPMs. This is actually not true. It's because when I run this software uses percentages, so it actually increases it. Usually I set it to about 26 to some that 25, almost 2600 RPM. So this one just increases because it doesn't do floating. It doesn't do floating. It doesn't do floats or decimals, right? So it's 1%, 0%, 1%, etc. So what I usually do is I've done some testing before. I usually set to about 50%, and then I'll hit apply when when we're doing some AI stuff. So that's going to be there. Next, I'm going to open up I do need the command line, but that's going to be in a second. I'll show you. That's to run the Python script. So I'm going to show you all these three here. So I'm going to open up the GNOME text editor. Somebody asked why I use the GNOME text editor and why I don't use an IDE. The reason is it's simple. And some of you guys might not be programmers, so any text, I just want to show you that you can do, whatever you're comfortable with. Obviously, a text editor is going to be the simplest thing. So I'm going to open up these three files here, just to show you. Let me zoom in. Okay, there we go. So basically, I'm using a CDN for the Markdown, and I'm using another CDN for the highlighter. And of course, I'm also using, the highlighter has a minified CSS and obviously the JavaScript here. And then we just have a div called chat container. Inside we have a chat box. And then after that, there's some type of message. That's the starting message. Then we have a form. The form is going to have a placeholder for the prompt, whatever you type in, and then the submit button. And then after that, just below the form, we have some arguments for the markdown. So obviously it will detect the language, and then we'll pass it on to the syntax highlighter. Okay, and then what do we have here? We have when you hit the submit button, we grab obviously the input field, the chat box, and the prompt. And then if it's empty, basically the prompt is just the input value. So if it's empty, do nothing, right? That's simple enough to understand. And then if we get something back from the server, what we do is we will obviously put whatever the message is there. That will become the text content. That's simple enough. So after you hit, we also have one. Is this a reset one? We can also reset, making it empty. So we make it empty so that another request can be sent. The input field there, and then the default message will say whatever the name of the AI. It will say it's thinking, and then what else we have here? Then we have an endpoint. You see it says fetch localhost :8000. We're not using PHP today. We're actually going to do this in Python. You'll see that when I show that to you. So we're going to use post. We're going to expect a JSON. And we send as JSON as well. And then after we get the results, we pass it to Markdown. And then after Markdown has parsed it, it will display it so it's easier to read. If you remember before, it had like run-on sentences. It's very hard to read, and I couldn't even tell if the answer was correct or not, because especially when you're running a large model will give you a bunch. It will explain everything. That's one thing I noticed. Good or bad, depending. If you're learning, I guess you want the bigger models. But for me, if I know, I kind of know the answer, I'm just testing, I prefer smaller models. They're just faster as well. And that's it. That's it. And there's some scrolling here. That's it. That's the front end. So let's go to the back end. This is the important part you should pay attention to. So obviously import JSON. We're going to use JSON here. An HTTP server. So we don't need to start an HTTP server separately. Python has built-in HTTP server, so that's what we're going to use here. And obviously we need the request handler, because this is going to handle the request for us. And then you see we have we can from Llama_cpp we import Llama. So this allows us, this we don't have to run like have it run, open as well. We can just let Python handle everything. This will be a little bit faster. So I create some variables here, the path to the models photo. So this is actually wrong here, because I made a change because I'm also now doing video and images. So I had to rename them, and I'll show that to you in a second. You see, if we go to my models folder, you see I changed it to chat models. I wanted to differentiate them. So this is going to be chat models. I'm doing some other fancy stuff. Maybe I'll make sure that to you guys tonight, where I am tweaking this so that instead of having a web UI, it can also go straight into, for example, I'm using LibreOffice, right? So I'll show you that guys tonight. So be prepared. So here we go in the chat models. You see, I deleted the DeepSeek R1, and I left. I was pretty impressed with the Llama 2.7b, even though the answers aren't correct. There were some things it did really, really well. So I left that one here, and this one is, yeah. I was testing chat, and I was testing GPT for all. I was actually not impressed with that one. It was actually not too shabby, but it would not use for some reason it would not use the GPU. It would use all it did was it used Vulkan. Obviously Vulkan is slower than Rocom, but the thing is, it will be a little bit slow because it's not using the GPU, or even Vulkan wasn't using all of it. It preferred to use the CPU and the integrated GPU. I don't know why. So if anybody knows, I wouldn't mind trying it as well, because obviously it's way better UI than mine for now. Okay, so then obviously the host name is localhost and the server port is 8000. So you see, to initialize the model, we just type Llama and the model path, which here in our variable here, and then we have an argument. We have you see it says sends a prompt to Llama.cpp and returns the AI's response. So the system response is your is your helpful and detailed assistant. Format your entire response using markdown syntax, including headings, bold text, and bullet points where appropriate. So we're telling the model that its answers should be in markdown if possible. The reason for that is that, remember, in our front end, we have the markdown library, and we have the syntax highlighting as well. So that's it. Maybe I should tell it. I think I should add here telling it as well to. Well, Markdown does have syntax highlighting, so I don't know what's going on. Maybe I'll inspect and see what's going on there. So there we go. And then after that, we always have our system prompt, and then the user, meaning the prompt that's going to come in from our web UI, and then that will be sent to it as well. And then it will return. I set the max tokens here to 512. This part is important because if you give it a small amount of prompts, obviously your tokens, is that your answer is going to be brief. So obviously, if you want an answer like what's the weather today, or should I buy stocks, things like that, like almost like a yes no. Obviously, the lower than amount of tokens is fine. What I'm saying is that if I want something like you guys always see me when I request something like, say, Kotlin code. That one, it has to be bigger because there's a lot of stuff going on there, even though the code seems simple. But for example, when I ask it, who's the mayor of Toronto? That one is a very simple prompt. You can maybe even get away with something like maybe 16 tokens, right? But I'm saying for others, you need a bigger, and especially you need a bigger amount of tokens if you want it to keep the previous conversation going. So if, for example, if I ask it for something, then there's a follow-up, it needs to be able to get the previous answers and take some of that in order to formulate a better answer. I can say, oh, that's wrong, right? So be aware of that. This is where the GPU will come in handy. And of course, I get the text, and you see I have a chat handler class. If you don't understand Python, don't worry about it. Last year, I did like a Python masterclass, right? I even created a course. It's on jamboshop.com, and I used the web IDE for that, for all this stuff, whether it's a class, methods, functions, even the basic stuff like logic, all of that stuff. I did all of that last year. So I basically went through almost the entire course there. So you can check it out. And I also said I did create, YouTube has a course. You can create a course playlist, which I did, but for some reason it doesn't show up. The way it does in the admin area. I don't know why. Maybe they're still testing it. Okay, so you can see here it says /API/chart, chat, and you see the content length. It will grab all of it, and then what will happen is it will that will be our post data here. And then we record it, make sure it's UTF-8. Obviously, I'm on Linux. That's usually any POX, IX type system is always going to be UTF by default. Okay, and then we get the response, this method here or function, and then we return it. You see, we also send 200. 300 means okay, and our response data. And this is our error handling. And then we have we'll make sure it's met JSON. That's what we expect, and we accept it from anywhere, meaning that this allows me to use say 127.127.0.0.1. I can use the localhost as you saw, and I can also use the IP address of this machine. So that means I can on another device like my phone. As long as I'm on the same network, I'll be able to connect. So this is why I put this here. And so this is important. If you guys know, the original reason why I want to do AI is a quick background. I have some chickens, so I want to train some AI models. Basically, I have it's a very simple algorithm. I can't remember, I can forget the professor who came up with it. It's a bounding box type algorithm. So the point is, I want it to basically differentiate me, and obviously the chickens, and everything else, especially that's bigger than all about half the size of the chicken and up, is going to be considered a predator. So what I want is the AI will be training that way, and then when a predator comes, it could be another human, whatever, it makes a noise, and then I can go out and chase away. Especially during the day, it could be a fox or something. Now, right now, don't worry, I learned my lesson in early spring. The chickens are still in their hoop coop. When I finish this live stream, I'll let them out when I'm outside. So I learned my lesson, because one time I was getting ready to do a live stream. I let them out, and then I started doing my live stream. They didn't come back, and they obviously hawk and an owl, picked them off. I lost. I had 9, so I lost 7. So I said I did learn my lesson. So yeah, and then by default, it's gonna open up the index.html file here, as you can see, and we start our server. And then if it's interrupted by the keyboard, that's usually Control-C, it will stop this. It will stop the server, and the application stops automatically, including the Llama.cpp. So that's why I said you can use this. Makes your life easier. I forgot to save this, so I'll save that. And the styling this is subjective. You style it any way you want. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this. You guys have seen this several times. It hasn't changed, even when I was using Llama as well. Okay, so let's actually get started. So this is very simple. All I need to do is go to the command line here and just type python and server.py, and you'll see it's gonna load the model and everything and get ready for us here. Now I'm gonna show you guys how much RAM it actually uses. So I'm gonna open up my, what's it called, system monitor. Yeah, system monitor. I'm gonna open up the system monitor so you can see what's going on. I'm gonna put it here. Let me zoom out here so you can see. I'm actually using, so this one you see, it put everything on the CPU. You see that? It's not using the GPU at all. So you see all this stuff, it put everything on the CPU. So the model is loaded, but you can see here it put it on the CPU. It loaded as tensors on the CPU. So everything is the CPU, right? So, but it did load up and it's ready. So let's go there and I'll show you that it does work, and then we'll get it to work on the GPU. So let's go here. So I don't need to worry about this right now because it's just going to be working on the CPU. But I'm going to leave this here so you can see the CPU temperatures. They'll go up a little bit, but not too bad. So let's go to, is it 8,000? Yeah, here localhost 8,000, and here we go. You see, this is the chat. This is a custom chat UI. You just guys saw me making it, and you see it says local AI chat, the name of the model. And it says, welcome, ask your local, Gemma-The-Writer, J, Gutenberg, 10B model, anything. So I'm gonna ask you a question that goes very, very fast. So remember, this is the CPU. So I'll say, actually, let me copy it properly. So just to be consistent, where are you? Where are those questions? Here we go. Who is the mayor of Toronto? So let's go and check a look here at the temperature of the CPU. You see the temperature of the CPU went up. It's going up again. It's 60. Remember, it started at 40 something. It's 61. So it's clearly only using the CPU. And the fan of the CPU came on because the fan profile. Now it's going down. So the answer, it gave us the answer already. You see, it says the current mayor of Toronto is Olivia Chow. She assumed office on July 1, 2023. This blew my mind because no AI has been able to answer this question. I was like, why is it so hard? So I'll ask you. Let me explain why I asked this question. So during the lockdown, the mayor of Toronto at that time, his name was John Tory. He's the one who came up with some of the dumb ideas, like, only when you go in an elevator, only 2 people allowed in an elevator. So I lived in a condo at that time, and you can imagine the condo didn't. It allowed you to go outside using the stairs, but you couldn't come upstairs. You couldn't go up the stairs. So you can imagine. I think it had 13 floors. So you can imagine all those people. Only 2 people allowed in an elevator. Now this selfish jerk. Yes, he was a jerk. He lived in a special building with a condo where you have private elevators. So for him, the 2 people per elevator didn't concern him. You see my point? And the worst part is, while he was coming up with his horrible ideas, he was spending time with his alleged mistress. Okay? So you can read all about it. It's like, so then he pretended to be a nice guy and he resigned, right? So that's when I started testing AI, because I was all this AI system. I was thinking, you know what? If they're so smart, I'm going to ask them who is the mayor of Toronto. So I kept on asking who's the mayor of Toronto, and none of them except for this one, as you see, was able to get the answer right. So basically, for almost a year, I think it was like 9 or 10 months, Toronto didn't have a mayor, because when he resigned, obviously the deputy mayor takes over, and then they decide on to hold elections to elect a new mayor. So I'm saying all that time, Toronto did not have a mayor. Or you could say the deputy mayor has taken over, the mayor has resigned. What I'm saying is, though, the time when I started this, there was no mayor. So the correct answer was Toronto doesn't have a mayor. So if you notice, whenever I ask this question, it always says John Tory, and usually it tells us who the mayor is, because most of these AI systems, they were basically only trained up to sometime in 2023. So I guess that's before he had resigned. I guess because if she assumed office in July 20, I don't know if that's actually true, but the point is, Toronto didn't have a mayor for a while there. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you another question, and I'm going to actually stop it because it's going to take a while. So I'm going to ask it the next question which I asked, which is I need a PHP code snippet to connect to a MySQL database. So here we go. Now let's go back and check on the temperature here. You can see I'm going to take a sip of water here and check the temperature. So it's going to go up. Sorry. I saw the temperature sometimes go up to like 80 degrees. So that was like, ooh, that's why I was like, and you see it's slow. It hasn't come up with an answer yet. How do I know? Because the temperature is it's going to be 65 soon. Yeah, it's about 65. You see it's keeping going up. It's going up. It's going up. So this is using the CPU. Obviously, it's going to be slower. And I'm using a stock cooler for the CPU. And you see it's continuing going up. Even though there's a fan profile for the CPU. I said I'm using this stock cooler. I'm using an AMD 5600 GT. The G obviously means it has an integrated graphics, and that brings up a whole other drama. So while that's running, let me explain this briefly. So if you see, I have 32 gigs of RAM. The integrated graphics reserves four of those gigs. So then I start at 28. But wait, there is more. And then you see this swap here. There's something called ZRAM. So that uses 8 gigs. So I'm not sure how that works. I don't know if it takes 4 gigs and because it's compressed, it makes it 8 gigs, or it takes 8 gigs, or I'm not sure about that. So that could probably mean that I really have 20 gigs to start. And that's also not true because, as I said, I'm running applications like I'm running OBS right now. I'm running obviously this application, some web browser, Windows Open, and a multi-streaming using FFmpeg. That doesn't take up too much, but you guys get the point, right? So I don't know how much RAM is there. So this is another problem where I have to be careful what model I decide to pick. So I can't pick something that's 30 because I won't have enough RAM. One thing I dislike as well, I hope they improve this in the future, is that when there's a bigger model, I wish they would maybe chunk it so that it loads a bit and pushes it to the GPU. What I've noticed about no matter what I do is all these models like to load up in RAM first. I don't know why, and then they pass it to the GPU. And now some of them are after they do that, they do release the RAM, so that's actually pretty good. But others, they keep it, and then obviously the system will crash. You can see it's ready. It's gonna looks like it's stable at about 72.5 degrees Celsius, and it still hasn't given me the answer. How do I know that? Because the temperature is still rising, right? You see now it's 72.6 degrees Celsius. Oh, it just jumped to 72.8, 72.9 degrees Celsius. So it still hasn't given me the answer. So it looks like it's going to stabilize around there. Yeah. So it still hasn't given me the answer. So this is why, if you want to do stuff like this, you definitely need to use the GPU instead. I'm doing this just to show you how long it's going to take, but it's already, see now it's already 73 degrees Celsius. The answer is not there yet. In case you're wondering what it looks like on my front end, the front end will say something like this, that the Gutenberg is thinking, you know what, let's go take a look at the command line. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the fan is obviously, the CPU fan is also spinning. That's what you're hearing. Oh, it looks like it's done. Okay, good. So it's done, and look how long it took. This is in milliseconds, but that's very, very long. Now, if you compare that to this one, when I asked it who is the mayor of Toronto, you see that was way. The total time was, in case you're being scored here, the total time was just less than 17,000 milliseconds. So that is, a millisecond is 1,000 seconds. So So it took 16 seconds to answer who's the mayor of Toronto. And then for this one, when I asked it for the PHP question, you see it's 235,000 milliseconds. So that's way more, way more than this guy here. So that took, what is that, almost, is that 4 minutes? Almost took 4 minutes to, yeah, so it took almost 4 minutes to answer that question. So, was it 6 minutes? Oh, sorry, my math is bad. 235 divided by 60. Yeah, I was right. It took about 4 minutes to answer the question. So, the question is, you see, this is the reason I said I prefer to do Markdown. You see, it put the PHP code. PHP code looks correct. Yeah, it's actually correct. And then it explained it. And this is actually a pretty good answer, but it took way too long. Like, I'm not going to wait around 4 minutes, right? And I'll be much older than I am right now. So let's switch over to the GPU, and I'll show you what I did to get it to work on the GPU. So if you notice down here, I'm going to actually, I can stop this, just Control C. You see it says server stopped. That's it. And if you see the memory is not a problem. If we go and check the, where is this guy here? If we check the CPU, the CPU, you see the CPU temperature is already dropping down to about not quite idle, but close enough. So it's in the 40s already. So that's how you see the GPU the dedicated GPU wasn't even touched at all. So I want to use the GPU. So I'll show you that. So this, if you notice here, I have something called server2.py. So let's open that up, and I'll show you some of the changes we made. Okay, so one of the changes we made is we imported the OS and the system. I don't think, did we have system before? I'm not sure. No, we didn't. Okay, so I imported the OS and imported the system. Why? Because we want to pass in some environmental variables. So the first environmental variable is this one, ROCR _ visible _ devices. So we're telling it to use, because it's going to find 2 GPUs, we don't want it to use the integrated, we don't want it to use the integrated GPU, we want it to use the dedicated GPU. So that's why I put 0 here, meaning that it's always the first one is 0. So we want it to use the first one. If you don't know about computers, they start counting from 0, not from 1, from 0. So that's why I put 0 here. And then here, the other environmental variable is llama _ no _ mmap. We set that to 1. So what that means is that it will force it to load the model into RAM. Okay. So this will bypass the persistent ROCm host memory buffer error that causes a full CPU backup. So I don't know, this might be just, as you can see, I think this is an AMD specific bug. So hopefully they do fix that in the future. So I have this, so you have to do this. So if you notice how it is able to reach the RAM, so if it loads it in RAM first, then when it tries to go back that way, that will force it to also dump the one in the VRAM, and that way that's a little trick for now. It's a workaround. Okay. So hopefully in the future you won't need to do this. And then after that, this is just to printing it out. And then the model path again, if you remember, I changed this to, I think it was chat models. Yeah, chat models. So just update that. Oops, got models wrong. You can download, if you notice it's a GGUF. I also explained this in all the night streams. This is one of the highest quantized models. And you see the Q6 as well, that's for quality. So the higher the Q, the faster it will be. Obviously it won't be as compressed as low ones. So for good medium, depending on your system, the best, so the good one to start with is something like Q4KM. The M stands for medium. That's a good quality to start. It's a good compromise between speed and compression. Okay, and then what's the other stuff here? Obviously localhost 8000, that stays the same. And we have some more variables we want to pass in. The GPU layers to offload, I gave it a very high number, 9999. That will probably never be used. The reason for this is what I'm saying is that most models, if you actually go to something like Hugging Face, they'll tell you how many layers that model has. If you notice, if I go back to the command line here, if we scroll up, you should actually tell us, yeah, you see the layers here. This particular model only has 40, I think it's 46. It has 46 because remember it starts counting at 0, right? So this one has 46 layers, right? So, and you can see it the way it does the layers here. You can see here. You see, oh, this one is skipped. Sorry, I didn't realize that was skipped. So, but you see when we go to the GPU, it won't skip any of them. It will actually use all of them. I think we'll check it out. So this one I see as, so I could put something like 46, but I want my code to be versatile, meaning that if I have a smaller model or a larger model, it will do all that. I won't have to reset. I won't have to set that again. So obviously with my system, I highly doubt I'll ever get a model that's going to be 999 layers. That would be crazy. And then you see number of GPU layers equals GPU layers to offload, so the same. And target GPU is 0. There's only one GPU. Okay, and then of course, if there's no, if the model can't be found, it's gonna put out an error. That's why the system. That's why I imported the system here. Just improve the code a little bit. And you can see here the same thing, LLM equals Llama, and then the model path, that's the same. Now you pass into our variables, the number of GPU layers, the main GPU, remember they were 0, 0. And then here we also did the CTX, the batch, we set them out to 512. This will allow us, as I said, to have the conversation going. And so for example, if I ask it, who's the mayor of Toronto, it answers the question, and then I can't continue. Like I say, oh, where is Toronto located? You know what I mean? So it doesn't understand. Or where does that mayor live, or something like that, or where was she born, or whatever. What I'm saying is that that was one of the problems with the first iteration of my web UI. So I added more features. One of this is that it's going to be able to retain some information, and that's better for a true chat. And no map set to true, and the GQA I set that to 32. So this is called query attention. So that's set at 32. Verbose true because I want to see what's going on the command line. And what else is here? The response, that also is the same. The chat, I think we fixed this. Yeah, we fixed this before, where it would put a warning. I think we fixed it when we were still doing the Llama client, because we were sending some extra variables which would say that's not needed. It was already adding its own, so that was fixed. So we just continue here. You see the max token still 512. You can adjust it as needed, but 512 seems to work. You can also adjust the temperature. What I recommend is before you download the model, you can read. It will tell you what the best settings are, so you can take those and tweak it to your for your needs. And here we see the stop and echo set to false. Everything else stays the same. Everything here stays the same. The only difference is I now the usual. What is it here? We have our. Yeah, we have this /AI endpoint, of course, and we have another one. Oh yeah, so the system prompt. So simplify offload attempting to send. No, that's not the one I wanted. Where is it here? Oh, I guess I didn't have it here. Oh, okay, yeah. So I was just testing the. Okay, so it's not here. I added it later. I'll explain that later. You will see. I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, so this one was just a test to see if I could actually get the Rollcom working. So let's go test this one out as well. So back to the command line. So this is system server2.py. So I'll just clear this, and this one is server2.py, and you can see it found my ROCOM device, set it to 0. Llama no mmap is set to 1, and now it's initializing the Llama model. And you see it's attempting to offload 999 layers to GPU, and this you see it loaded even much faster, and you see it ROCOM M0. So that's what we wanted. If I go up here, you see the difference here now. It put all of them into my ROCOM. It skipped some of them. I will talk about that. That's not important. And you see it actually put all of them into, and you see the ROCOM KV buffer size, right? There we go. You can see all this stuff here. So if you're having an AMG GPU and wondering why it's not working, now you guys learned something. And you see, I said the layers 999 was more than enough. I mean, I would have to have probably multiple GPUs and some weird thing, but there you go. Now it's versatile. So if I go back to our, where is this here? So I have to be careful here. Now it's actually going to use the GPU. So if I go back here and I do a refresh, okay. So I'm going to ask it who's the mayor of Toronto. This one I don't even need. This one is actually really fast. So I'm going to paste it back again. You'll see it. I think this one doesn't even bother going to the GPU, but we'll check. Yeah, you see the answer is there even before I can even go to the cooler control. The answer is already there. You see the mayor of Toronto. The current mayor of Toronto is Olivia Chow. Boom. Right? I didn't have time to go here. You see. I don't even know if to use the GPU at all. It was so fast. It was like, I clicked it, the answer came up. So I think it might have used the GPU. I'm saying it's so fast. I don't know if it didn't use the GPU. It was that fast. All right. Now, one that actually has to do a little thinking is I'm going to ask it this question now. I need a PHP code snippet to connect to a MySQL database. So if I click send here, let's go back here. You're going to see this. Yeah, you see the GPU is actually being used. You see the temperature of the GPU going up again, GPU. See, pay attention. This is the CPU up here. It's staying at 54. It's actually going down. And the GPU, the dedicated one, you see. Is it done? I think it's done. Wow. Must be finished because it went up a little bit, and yeah, I think it's done. I think it gave us the answer. Yeah, it gave us the answer. That's how you know you're using the GPU. The answer came really fast, like boom, just like that. Now I was so impressed. I'm like, yes, I found the model I want. This is gonna be perfect, right? Right? Not so quite. You'll see later. Okay, so we got that answer. So the next answer I'm going to add, the next request is I need a 1080p screenshot of the GNOME desktop environment. So I hit send, and you see it's like, what is going on here? Has it given us the answer? No, because the GPU is all over the place. Did it give me the answer? Oh, it did. Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's fast. It's fast right now. I don't know why. It wasn't like this. I don't know what happened. It's really fast today. So I'm sorry, but as a text-based AI, I cannot directly provide screenshots. However, I can describe a typical 1080p GNOME desktop environment for you, outlining its key visuals. So that's not a bad answer. So far, it's a perfect, including the PHP. Let me just make sure the PHP is correct. Yeah, everything is perfect. The answer is perfect. So far, it's 3 out of 3. Okay, now this one should take a while. The Kotlin code snippet. So the GPU here. Temperature is going up. So, is it done? I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. It's finished, it seems. It's finished. Okay. I am confused because I don't know. Maybe it's because I asked this question a few times in the night stream. It's blowing my mind today because the answers are coming so fast. I don't know why. Yeah, I'm confused. Okay, so here's the problem with the code, and this is why it's fast. I'll explain why it's fast. If you notice, it gave us the code here. Guess what happened right here? It got clipped off. You see, it got clipped off. There's more stuff, but it got clipped off. So that is because of I'll explain that. There's a fix for that. Don't worry, there's a fix for that. So another thing that I would also, this is why I want the syntax highlighting as well, because you see it's not what do you call it, it's not wrapping. This should actually wrap as well, or this should actually be extended here, but that's not the need. The biggest problem is you see it got clipped off. My answer got clipped off. However, there's another reason it's also fast, because remember, it actually clears the input, so it doesn't retain anything from before. So the last one is I need a Blender blend file for fire animation. So I click send, and let's go check the temperature as well. And the temperature is 50, 51, so it's still doing stuff. So 50, oh, it's done. I can't believe this. I'm going to stop this for a while, the fan, so I don't have to scream. But see, it gave the answer. It says, it's impossible for me to directly provide you with a Blender blend file within this text-based environment. However, I can furnish you with a comprehensive guide and assets to construct a compelling file animation in Blender yourself, along with essential sourcing strategies. So I don't know what happened today, but it did a pretty good job. And the funny thing is, I probably didn't even need the fan. I mean, the temperature would probably have gone up to maybe about 60, 70. Then, because the answer came so quickly, it would have. I probably need to ramp up the fan. And there you go, and see, this one also got clipped off. Okay, so those are the settings I have right now. But don't worry, I did fix all this. I did fix the clipping issue. And as I said, I think another reason it's so fast is because it doesn't retain the previous information, so it starts from a clean slate. So I wanted to show that to you guys. So that's an improvement. You see how fast when you use the GPU it is. Okay, so if you guys paid attention here as well, I'll show this if you're working on if you're viewing this video on a vertical screen, is you can see the memory usage. And you didn't even touch the swap. You see, swap is still at 0. So that's fantastic. Okay. Now let's fix some of this. Let's fix the clipping, and as I said, let's also, does it show me the memory usage here? Here, you see up here, it says it's using how much RAM? It's using 38.1 megabytes. The cooler control is only using 100. That's much bigger. Okay, so that's another reason why if you create your own UI, you can control how much memory is possible. Now let's fix some of these issues. So I'm not going to waste too much of your time. I prepared. There's tests. In test, you can see here what I did was I tweaked the index.html file. I added a reset button to clear the screen. And then I added I did some tweaks in the server Python file as well, and now that's what we're gonna look at right now. So this one here, so let's open these two guys up. Let's look at the index file first. Let me zoom in here. So the same, it says the same. It's picking up our style sheet here, the markdown, and then highlighter, the CSS version, and JavaScript. And then what I added was, you see a reset. So there's a button to reset the chat. I didn't style it yet, but you can style it any way you want. And the other thing I did, obviously, is I needed to add something for the reset. There should be a button here for reset. I mean, functionality. Here we go. See, add event listener, click, and then all it does is just clear it. That's all it does. And then it sends it to the API/reset endpoint. That tells it that, because remember we're keeping it in memory, so it tells it that get rid of it. Get rid of. Don't store it anymore. Just do a hard whatever, hard reset, whatever. No, not hard reset. Just clear the memory. Whatever you're holding in memory, it's not needed. So that's what the reset does. Nice and simple. Then our server here. Let's go back up here. Zoom in. See, all this stuff stays the same. All this stays the same as before. This one, as I said, this is changed to chat models. Okay. The reason I'm doing that is because obviously I'm gonna have like video models and obviously image models. So I want to differentiate them because they're all gonna be GGUF. Okay, so all this stays the same. You can see here 999, the max, all that stays the same. Oh, here we go. Here's the changes. The first change is the context window. I changed it to 81992. Now you can make the bigger. The bigger the number, the more information that the number of tokens the model can continue at once. Meaning that remember I said, like, for example, if you want to do follow-up questions, or for example, if you're writing like a story, you can tell it to generate the first the first sentence, the second sentence, etc. So then it can go back. Take a snippet of the previous one as well. All the others stay the same. If you notice here, the GQA, I said the 32. Was that one 16? I can't remember. Let's see what number this one was. Oh, it was 32. Okay, so I guess that stays the same. 32, yeah, it was true. Everything else stays the same. Oh, here we go. See the max tokens. Before we only had 512. So here it says 512 and then it says 892 minus the length of our whatever the chat prompt is. It's going to be split. So this will tell it like how many max tokens it needs. Okay, and then everything else, the temperature is the same as before. You can change all these values. You can fool around with it. So the reason I did this was, I said before, I'm making this as versatile as possible. So meaning that if I change the model, it will still work instead of having to hard code it for a particular model. This will allow me to obviously have different models. Okay, and then the API chat, that doesn't change. It stays exactly the same. The new one is we have another endpoint. Where is it here? What did I not create it? Am I the wrong one? Oops, looks like I did not create the endpoint for the reset. Oh, here it is, the reset. Here's the reset one. Yeah, see /API/reset. And you see, we had a conversation _history. So you see, we set it to nothing. So that's what happens. So I guess we must have changed something here, where we're storing it. It's storing it as a global variable. Yeah, is this? No, that's in the reset. Where is? I guess I could search for it. So whoever said I should use an IDE, I guess you're right. Oh yeah, conversation history. So you see it, global conversation history. So global conversation history here. There we go. So that's where it stores the data from our previous conversations. It's nice and simple. So let's go test this guy out. So I need to hit save because the model path has changed. So we go back here. Now I need to go to tests. Oh. Oops, I forgot to close it. So I Control-C to stop it. Yeah, I can also have closed the terminal window without I've done the same thing. So CD tests. And again, the same thing, Python space server.py. And you see here, it's trying to offload the 99 layers into ROM. And you can see the memory here, it just goes up a little bit. So that's another great thing, because this is more low level. So it's going to use way less resources. And you see how fast it is too, right? When it's putting everything in the GPU. And you can see, it's still not using the swap. So you see that? Very low memory, it's loaded. And remember, this model is 10B. It loaded it up, not using any swap. So it's all in the GPU. Okay? So now, if I do a refresh, there we go. Again, if I ask it who the mayor of Toronto is, it should give me a pretty fast answer. Here we go. Yeah, the mayor of Toronto. I don't even bother putting that onto the I don't even bother putting the fan on it, because it's really fast. Okay, so I can ask it this one here. When was the mayor elected? How do I spell that right? Right? So I'm saying now we can have a conversation. It's so fast. It gives me the answer so fast. I don't even have time to go and switch on the fan. See, mayor was elected, mayor of Toronto, on October 24, 2023 in municipal election. So I don't know if that seems about right. Remember I told you that we didn't have a mayor for about 9 months. Remember before it says it was July, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. So I don't know if this is correct or not. Okay, what else? You see my point? So this is the improvement. Now I can have a true conversation, right? Because you can do follow-up questions, right? So you notice I asked who's the mayor of Toronto, then say the current mayor of Toronto is Olivia Chow. The next question was, when was the mayor elected? So it knew that based on my last question, or its answer, I'm guessing, that that's where it will get the that's how to do the follow-up. And you see it's pretty fast. I'm still not using, I haven't even turned on the fan. So that was the improvement. And there's also this button here to reset the chat. You see, now I'm just to prove to you, hopefully it does work, is the mayor, what gender is the mayor? What gender is the mayor? Okay. You see, then it says, please provide more context or specify the mayor you're referring to. I need information about a particular mayor to determine the gender. And then I don't know this. What is that? Is that Spanish? Okay, that's a little weird. I didn't expect that. But anyway, so you see the point I'm saying is that, see, now this is much better because I was able to reset the reset chat. I guess it should be clear. So some of the other improvements I want to do is, for example, if it has code, I want to be able, even text, I want to be able to maybe create a copy button. You can even down here, copy. So to copy the I guess the answer, a specific answer. That's something I probably want to improve as well. But there you go. So, okay, this has been an hour. I think I've gone through everything here. Yeah, so actually blown away today that it's working fine. I wonder if the problem was when I started testing this, Oma was still hogging some of the resources. Okay, I guess so, because as you guys saw right now, it's blazing fast, right? So if you have an AMD GPU, don't fret, it actually does work. As I'm using Fedora 43. I'll show you my system settings. I'll show you what system I have here. We'll go to system. As you can see, we'll go to about. You see I have I'm using GNOME 43. I'm using MCI motherboard. That's a number MS-7C56, or I think it's also known as the B500 Pro series, something like that. And I was saying, see, it's AMD Ryzen 5 5600 GT, The G obviously means that it has integrated graphics. 32 gigs of RAM, but as I explained, it's not really 32 because of the integrated graphics. And then if we go to system details here, that's the firmware. I haven't updated that, and most likely will not. And you see there's the other, there's also the other graphics, which is the dedicated one. That's the AMD Instinct MI60. It has 32 gigs of VRAM HBM2. I bought it used off eBay. It's been fantastic. The only problem, I said, it doesn't have cooling, so you need to come up with a cooling system. I just bought a fan shroud, 3D printed, and a 40mm fan that blows right through it. And as you guys saw, it does work extremely well. All right, obviously my system is 64-bit. I'm using GNOME 49. I'm using the Wayland desktop, and that's my kernel 617.5-3000. And 64-bit system. So that's it. All right. So I'm not sure if I'll do a night stream tonight. I've done so much AI stuff. But I would like to maybe tweak it a little bit or do some images or something. So if you want to join me tonight, I'll do a night stream. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so let's finish this up. Where am I here? Well, I can close this as well. So you guys saw the answers, right? So it actually blew me away. It's much faster than than I think. Also, when you leave the GPU without using it for recording and stuff, I think it just that's a way to go. So there you go. I did some more extra testing for you guys. If you have 2 GPUs, leave one dedicated just for the AI. That's a way to go. Don't even use it a little bit. Like I said, I was recording the video for this live stream. Don't do it. Just keep it for AI stuff, and it will just blow your mind, just like that. All right. So I have some additional resources to further your knowledge with Python and enhance your programming skills. You can check out these resources. I have a book called Learning Python. It's available on Amazon. The link is in the description. I have a course called Learning Python. It's available on ojamboshop.com. The link is also in the description. And if you need one-on-one Python tutorials, feel free to reach out to me directly at ojambo.com/contact. I also offer services for installing and migrating AI models. For example, this one is the Gemma-The-Writer J. Gutenberg 10B DAUQ6K through my ojamboservices.com/contact. So, in conclusion, with the Gemma-The-Writer J. Gutenberg 10B DAUQ6K, you can unlock powerful language generation capabilities for a variety of applications. While the code and model architecture are licensed under the Apache license version 2, it's important to remember that the weights are subject to Google's specific licensing restrictions. So be sure to review and comply with those terms. If you need any help setting up the Gemma-The-Writer J. Gutenberg 10B DAUQ6K or have any questions about Python programming, feel free to contact me. With that said, every day I do a live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern. You simply go to ojambo.com, you go to watch menu live 7, you can see topics for this and upcoming tutorials. So it's at 2 p.m. Eastern. Also be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments. It helps out this channel grow and helps me as well, because I learn. And for example, I'm open to taking any requests from any viewer or subscriber. And as I said, a lot of AI stuff I did learn was thanks to viewers just like you. Okay, and with that, I also have some other recommended resources. I'm gonna go backwards very quickly. I'm in a rural area. There's no internet. Cellular service is sporadic. So I use SpaceX residential service, Starlink residential service. So I have a referral link. If you use my referral link, I'll get 1 month free, and you will get a discount. For example, right now in Canada, the discount is the equipment is free. You don't have to pay for the hardware. So you will get a discount no matter where you are geographically. But the type of discount and its duration depends on your geographical location, but you definitely get a discount. So if you're thinking of getting SpaceX Starlink, the residential service, use my referral link. Then I also have an affiliate link for this Honeywell HeatBud personal ceramic heater. It's available on Amazon. It has two settings, high and low. Obviously off doesn't count. And it has a trip safety feature here. So when it tips over, it will automatically turn off. So this little guy, I think the article is going up today. I think I also created a video. It should be live. If it wasn't live already, to be live in a few minutes. So this little guy helped me save over $100 in propane costs. So my house here is heated by propane. Propane is only used for heating the furnace. That's it. Not even hot water heater, not oven, not the clothes dryer. It's only for heating. So it's very expensive. Okay, it's $1.33 per liter. So it's very, very expensive. So last winter was very harsh. However, from the middle of winter, right in the middle of winter, sometime in February, I started using this little guy more. So that let me, instead of keeping the house at, because I work from home, instead of keeping the house at say 22 degrees, I got spoiled when I was in the condo, don't blame me. So I could keep the temperature at say 16 degrees. And then this little guy stays on the desktop close to me because it's personal, literally. All I need heated is just where I am. For example, this little area, you can see it, but yeah, you see my hand. This little area, that's all I need heating. So obviously I'll dress up warmly as well. So this little guy, just on a low setting, it less than $5 a month. So my electricity will go up a little bit, but $5 a month, because I only switch it on for a few minutes, about 5 times in an hour. So that comes out to that's a high setting, by the way, I'm talking about. But I'm saying if you use the low setting, which I do, you save a lot in heating costs. So I'd rather pay $5 extra a month than paying $100 in propane extra per month. So that's a lot of savings. And also because of this little guy, right now we're in November. In October, I didn't have the heater on at all. So again, I just used the low setting here. Whenever I felt a little chilly, because the end of October, the temperature really dropped to about 5 degrees outside. So really chilly. This guy kept me warm here. And sometimes before I went to bed, when I woke up, I could take this into the bedroom and switch it on low, just warm up a little bit. So this is fantastic. So I do have the, as I said, affiliate link over there. And finally, also on Amazon, I have my novelette. It's called The Algorithmic Serpent. It's by me, Edward Ojembo. You see my name there. It's about a scientist who creates an AI system and loses his mind, and then he has to regain control of his mind and his AI system. And you can see that's the back here, and you see the pages. See that? So this is the paperback version. There's also a ebook version. Ebook version is free if you have Kindle Unlimited. So it's a psychological thriller. I made it as affordable as possible, both the ebook and this paperback version. So pick it up if you can and let me know, good or bad. I want to improve my writing skills, not just for programming, but also for other types of writing. I love writing. Okay, with that said, be sure to subscribe, like, follow, and leave comments. It helps the channel grow, as I said before, and find more viewers. And when I learn stuff, I share. Like you see, I shared how to create your own web UI for your own AI, local AI. And when they tell you, if you go search, they'll tell you, oh no, you can't use AMD. Clear, you can. You see, I see me, right? Of course, I had to do some research, actual research, but it was worth it. All right, we can talk about that tonight and tomorrow. So I'm gonna check the chat right now. I'm gonna start with Odyssey. There's no chat request. I go to Rumble. There's no chat request. BitChute. There's no chat request. Oh yes, I have to refresh. Let's see what's going on here. Oh yeah, there's no chat request there. YouTube, there's no chat request. Okay, so that's it. Stop this live stream and I'll see you guys tonight.